everyone, and welcome back to my channel. And if you're new to my channel, this is Furniture Reincarnation, where weary furniture goes to get a new life and a new home. And I'm Betsy, and I'm a retired teacher and a former flight attendant who was laid off a couple of years ago, and now I'm flipping furniture. So today, actually, I'll be working on this piece right here. So the plan is to go ahead and strip this old stain off of the piece and come back with new stain. I might have to sand a little bit, I'm not sure, but this is a very old piece. I'd say it's at least 70 or maybe 80 years old, or possibly older. And in any case, we'll see what happens. Stay tuned. Okay, we're just about ready to start, and it's good. You always want to make sure you read your directions, and before you get started doing anything, it says to wear protective glasses. So I'm wearing actually my sunglasses, and we're going to shake it well and then put it in a container. I'm going to need to wear some gloves, and I've got those out here too. Alright, so I've poured the product. It's actually citrus strip. I'll be listing all this below. And it has a nice orangey smell to it, and it's a paint and varnish stripping gel, and I'll be using my chip brush to apply it, and this will need to stay on about 30 minutes. So we've got this all done, and we're going to let it sit for about 30 minutes and see how it's doing, and then come back and scrape off the citrus strip. And the main thing about the citrus strip is that you do not want to let it dry out. If it dries out, you're going to have a much bigger mess. Believe me, it's happened before. So do not let it dry out. And we do have a slight wind blowing here, so I'm a little concerned about that, but hopefully in 30 minutes it will be okay. At this point, I've gotten just about all I can off with the scraper, plastic scraper, and I'm going to have to start using probably some steel wool. This is grade 0000. Start doing that right now as soon as I get my gloves on. We're back the next day, and the temperature has really dropped a lot out here. So I was looking over this, and I still don't like the way it seems like there's still some gunky stuff on here from trying to get all the finish off. And did notice that there are some screws on here that I saw this when I was doing it and wondered if I should take them off and try to get in between here better. That way I'll be able to get these long bars totally free and clear of all the stain and varnish or whatever it was that was on there. And right now I'm not very, just don't like it. I got toothbrushes too that I was using, but it's still, I just think I need to take this off. So that's going to be our next step. I've got a plastic container to put all the little screws in. Looks like I'm going to be competing with the sun a little bit right now too. So here we go. Still working on the corner cabinet, and I've pretty much gotten all the stain off of it that I could, and used a whole lot of products. Next time I think I'll just start with the lacquer thinner and be done with it. I was a little nervous about using it to start with because the wood is so old. So I was told the lacquer thinner is not going to hurt it. Just to use that and try to get as much of the stain off. I found out, I thought the color of the wood was this darker color, but it's actually because it was stained, a redder stain underneath the paint or underneath the other stain. And so now on the last layer of the stain, hopefully, citrus strip, then the afterwash, then I did mineral spirits. That didn't seem to get everything off very well. Then I used some lacquer thinner, which got a whole lot more of it off. Still some of it in the grain. I don't want to sand it too much since it is old. I want to leave some of the imperfections in the wood to preserve the wood and put a nice finish on it. So right now I'm using a 120. This is handheld. I do not want to use my sander because I don't want it to go too deep into the wood. And then after you use the 120, I believe I have a 180, and I'm going to use that next, and I might go on down to about a 220. So we'll see how it goes. And you always do want to sand with the grain of the wood. So make sure you're sanding with the grain of the wood, not cross grain. Always with the grain. Places there that I want to go ahead and finish up. And while I was sanding, I was also cleaning the nails, soaked them in vinegar, and have gone over them some with cleaning. I'm going to do a little bit more sanding here. Don't know if I'll get to the, don't know how far we'll get today, but we're going to keep on sanding until we get all that stain off the edges and down to the bare wood. folks, and we're finally on the last step. I'm going to be doing a armor seal satin. This is oil based. It's by General Finishes. I'll be putting that on, and it's going to take 3 coats with sanding in between. So let's get started. I'm going to be using just a t-shirt. I've taken some of this and cut part of the t-shirt, and we're just going to go with the wood and get this baby finished. Has dried, and so now we're going to come back and lightly sand and add a second coat. And I'm going to be using 240 grit foam. This is really good for getting around the edges, although just a very light sanding. Just want to barely scuff it up. Excited because we've got the 3rd coat of finish on, and it's just about time to go ahead and put it all back together. Alrighty, and only have 2 more pieces to put back on, this top and the other one, and then we'll be done. And here she is, totally finished. This is what she looks like now. You can actually see the grain of the wood and the texture of the wood. And this is what it looks like now that she's had her reincarnation. And I'm just very pleased with the way it did. And I'm really happy with the way it's turned out, and be giving her probably back to my son. Hopefully my grandson will take it, and this nice little beauty will stay in the family, I hope, for generations. Thank you for joining me for today's furniture flip, and I hope everyone has a wonderful Thanksgiving weekend, and I'll see you next time on Furniture Reincarnation.